Caherly, first of all, I think my view on the taking of human life is well known. And whether that's a human life in the first 9 months of its existence or afterwards, I've always been consistent on the protection of human life. And I intend to go on that way. And as I pointed out when we were on second stage, what people are going to find is that statistically the most dangerous place for a human being is going to be is in the womb. That's one certainty if this bill will get passed, which it will. Now, we're discussing Amendment 4. And basically, there's two arguments I hear, one for it and one against it. The one against it is that why should those who have a fundamental objection to taking of life of the unborn, why should they have to fund it through their taxes? And the counter-argument runs that if you were to pass this amendment, abortions would still take place, but there'd be a means test on it effectively between those who are well off and those who are less well off. And I think we're being put in a totally invidious position, and that's why I voted as I did in the second stage. Because once we get this far, you're getting into impossible conundrums. I have to say that there's one thing I don't like, and that is that those who can pay can get access to those who can't pay. And the question is, even if you were to put in and pass this amendment, would it actually change anything in terms of abortion? I think the reality is that it wouldn't. And furthermore, it would put a financial strain on those who could least afford it to avail of what will inevitably be a legal service. Now, what I do, and I've raised this again before when we're talking about public money, find surprising is that for years now, our maternity services that were focused on 2 patients all along were crying out for money to provide a safer, better service. And they were told at the time that it couldn't be afforded because of hard times, but suddenly we can find a huge pot of money for abortion. And I'd be interested to hear from the Minister in his reply as to what requests have been made over the last 3 or 4 years by the Health Service for extra money to put into maternity services throughout the country to make sure, for example, that things such as scans will be available absolutely uniformly across the country and other services. What money was sought for 2019 and what money has been given? Because it seems to me that there's something strange in not focusing on the protection of the mother and the child by having comprehensive, good quality maternity services, non-crowded maternity facilities right throughout the country. In relation to the cost issue mentioned by Deputy Donnelly, can the Minister confirm to me that no matter what time you spend in a hospital in this country, that it cannot cost you more in any one year from the first day you go in to the 12 months from that day than €800 on the public system? Certainly, the rules I've read tell me that. And I think that it's important that we confirm that point, because it frightens people. I've got a lot of people come into me and they've lost a medical card, they've lost a GP card, and they have fears of thousands of euro bills arising if they wind up in hospital. And I often have to print out, these will be people where an appeal is not going to work, to print out the rules to say that particular American scenario does not happen in our health service. You can get a heart transplant, cancer treatment and anything else in any 1 year in a hospital, in a public hospital, as long as you can get in past the trolleys, and it costs you €800 in total. And I'd like the Minister to confirm that on the public record, because it's a point that needs affirming. I will be supporting a lot of amendments on this bill. I will not be supporting this particular one, because I think it's just dividing those with resources against those without resources. It doesn't actually deal with the fundamental issue that I have with this bill. But I will be supporting other amendments. And can I finally say, in relation to the argument about faulty wording of amendments, most amendments put down by opposition parties are technically faulty. Of course, the situation normally is that if a minister is going to accept your amendment, in principle, he tells you, look, I can't accept the amendment because the wording is faulty. I will come back at report stage with an amendment that does the job, in principle. And therefore, the kind of fine combing of these, when what's actually happening here is that the majority of the Dáil are going to, in principle, not because of minor wording difficulty, in principle, are going to push these through, and good luck, they have the numbers, and I'm the first to recognise democratically that the overwhelming majority of the Dáil would support this bill. But I also think it's important that people who have a different view would lay down the principle, that we don't accept the principle, that we do accept the principle of some amendments that have been put down here that we believe should have been taken on board.